What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, episode 8 of the NEW podcast. It's going to be me and Tears today, talking about some of the wrestling topics, some of the top topics, some of the just their topics. Tears, how we doing today?
Why'd you go full on Vince McMahon on me right there?
I don't know. I didn't realize I was until the last second.
What's the matter with you?
Well,
I'm doing
I'm hyped.
fine, Vin Man.
Well, the first topic has been talked about a lot, and I mean a lot. And she's been in the news since she arrived in AEW, whether that's good or bad. She's one of the biggest signings they ever had. I'm sure they're paying her a ton of money. Mercedes Monet, some of you may know her, Sasha Banks in WWE. And there's been a lot of criticism, whether it's about her not wrestling a match yet or about her promos. There was a segment with her moaning that a lot of people were posting, which it was interesting to say the least, I can say. So, Tears, what do you think about all the criticism about Mercedes slash Sasha's AEW run so far? Because there's been a lot of it.
Not sure how I feel about like her not having matches yet is a criticism, because there's a lot of people in companies who have yet to have a single match, and they've been there for a while now. The moaning in the promo thing, that's just funny to me, but I'm a degenerate, I'm willing to admit that. But the only criticism that I would have is her talking in her promos like this, like getting ready for the next part of it. That's my only criticism about her promos, but I don't know if that's just like a situation to where she knows she's doing it or she thinks that's interesting. I don't know. Am I good? Am I happy to see her there? Yes. There's a lot of great women there. Hikaru Shida versus her would be fun.
Her against Britt Baker is the match because she does the CEO and DMD. It's like a connection.
I feel like that's gonna be way too annoying after a while, though. Personally.
It is.
Um,
Her theme song's also gotten a lot of critique because it sounds just like Imperium or Gunther's old WWE. It's on the
oh
dun
yeah,
dun
I
dun
heard about
dun
that.
dun dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of that as well.
Yeah. I think. I mean, that one is fair-ish. I don't know if she has control of her theme songs in AEW. Uh, but I mean, other than the whole talking slow in her promo type shtick, I don't have any criticisms. Like, everybody's allowed to criticize somebody. Like, you can criticize, since you brought up Imperium, I'm trying to think of a Gunther criticism. His
He
attire
can't cut.
choice?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, he just wears black the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah,
Also, I think
like,
he wore white before, maybe. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't bloody know.
But
I know he's like, his shtick is to where, like, he's a purist in the ring, and he's, like, doing old school, like, look, which is fine. Like, he's not gonna do anything like flashy gimmicks or gear like Ricochet.
nah,
Uh, like
he's
you
gonna
can
go
say
out there
that's a
and chop people.
criticism. Yeah. I think everybody's like entitled to have an opinion or a critique, but just don't let that critique be the only reason like you don't like this person in wrestling. We've had enough people have it to where like this one tiny little thing prevents people from liking a wrestler.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the case. And listen, I like Sasha slash Mercedes. I don't like her the way she is outside of the ring. I think she kind of comes across as very
Entitled.
rude. Yeah, just she don't seem like she's a great person outside the ring. Could be wrong. Maybe it's just been her bad moments. People have caught her in. I don't know. She's a great wrestler. She put on good matches. Maybe she's one of them people who are just used to WWE where her promos are scripted, and I don't know if AEW is scripting her promos or not. I know Tony Khan gives a lot of freedoms. I don't know. Maybe she's just not used to speaking from non-scripted stuff. I don't know. Or she's just not good at promos in general. Who knows? But
Did she have promo criticism when she was in WWE? I can't remember.
not as much, no.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it's her trying too hard or she's trying to show she's different. I don't know what it is. She just don't seem comfortable yet. I don't know. Maybe it's the environment. Maybe it's just I don't know. It's weird, but I mean, I've seen some fans like criticize, oh, she don't look the same in the ring because she's done a few. spots. She hasn't done a match. I mean, she is coming. People got to realize she is coming off of a huge injury that almost ended her career in New Japan. Like a big, big injury she had. It ain't like she's coming back from like a little neck injury. Even not a little neck injury, but like a little
Yeah, that's to say.
thumb injury or something like that. That was a bad thing with the neck, but like she's coming off a major injury. Let's see what they got planned for her. AEW isn't always the best at long-term booking, so we'll see how she does. But I get some of the criticism, even though I haven't watched all her stuff in AEW. I get some of the criticism, but we just got to see how she looks a year from now. So far, it's not been good, but let's just see how the long-term development is and go from there. So let's talk about wrestling fans in general. I've seen
Uh,
a lot of criticism, and there's a lot of criticism for wrestling fans, obviously, but after Backlash, I was seeing some fans say, "Oh, Bayley's boring. We're tired of her title reign already." It's like she's been champion for a month, and some of y'all wanted her champion, and I see fans saying, "Oh, Cody should lose. His title reign's boring. It's awful. Get this man off TV. Cuts the same promo every week." So, Tears, what do you think about those fans' criticism, and do you think wrestling fans lose patience or interest in stuff too quickly?
yes, like it just started. Has it been a month, or has it been even like less than a month?
It's been over a month now as we're recording. Just over a month since
But
Mania.
still, it's just like, dude, like I get you're used to like now the long reigns from like Gunther Reigns, Rhea Ripley, but once again, like it, a new championship or not new championship, but like a new champion, like you need a moment with them, like it can't be just like instantly. I don't even know what like it could be instantly. There's no way you could do a championship like run instantly. Like I would be. Wait, is Priest getting any criticism that's the same? Is Sami Zayn
Uh,
getting criticism that's any the same?
I mean, and before Priest won, I heard a lot of fans saying he ain't world champion material. I've heard some fans saying they're enjoying him in the fan teasements of a few, but I haven't really seen too much criticism of Priest.
What
And
about
Sammy
Sami
hasn't done
Zayn?
enough to get really. I mean, I haven't really paid attention. I mean, I know Sammy's been. I know they like the camera work's been done, and I mean, I haven't really heard anything bad about Sammy, though, overall.
So why aren't they being criticized like Cody and Bayley? Because they're two people that took the belts from long reigning people as well. I was about to also mention Becky Lynch, but people out of every one of the new WWE champions, Becky Lynch is the only one that people are very familiar with. How many and all that. If anything, I would expect more of that harsh criticism from Becky, but we talked about it before, saying like, was she the right person? Which that's another topic for another episode that I have, depending on how the next pay-per-view goes. Uh, but it's just like, wow, people, like for wanting this for the whole time, you're not showing like you really are happy that it's finally happened. Like, are you just wanting something to want? Maybe that's it. Like maybe they're just wanting the feeling of wanting.
I could see that. Like, they're just kind of either complaining just to complain, or they're just trying, oh, well, this person won, so let me look to the negatives of it. Like, they just started a brand split. This is their first pay per view. Bayley is involved in a story with Tiffany Stratton. I mean, that's one of their up and coming stars that they're very high on. The fans really like Tiffany Stratton. I don't know if the fans are turning on Bayley because they want Tiffany Stratton to win. But if that's the case, y'all need to realize it is way too early for Tiffany Stratton to win the title. She just got on the main roster. I know Paige won the title when she debuted and everything, but like Tiffany Stratton, let her. If that's why a lot of fans are pissed off, I don't know if it is. I know there's a lot of Tiffany Stratton fans. But if some of y'all are criticizing Bayley, just remember, Tiffany Stratton is still new. She might win Money in the Bank or she might win the Rumble next year. She'll have her moment. But right now, just let Bayley and Cody have some time. They just won. They just did a draft. They just are now getting their plans in place of what they're going to do the next few months. Shit, I just heard today Cody's going to be facing Rock at next year's WrestleMania, so they got some plans in place. So, Tears, I'll ask you, what do you think of the Rock and Cody match? Should it be Rock and Reigns or Rock and Cody in your mind?
Honestly, we know we're eventually gonna someday get the Reigns versus Rock match. But it makes a lot of sense for it to be Rock and Cody at Mania because, well, that the Raw after Mania, they hinted at that already, saying like when the Rock comes back, he hopes to fight against Cody, and that would make sense then, like to be at Mania because the whole storyline, well, their storyline started at Mania. But I'm just wondering, is The Rock even going to be physically capable to do this one? Like, yeah, I know before Mania I had my doubts that he would be physically capable at Mania then. But really, like, we're going another year and we're waiting for The Rock again, hoping, like, he's going to be physically capable of doing another match. I'm just, like, thinking to myself, can you really keep doing this? Can you really keep pushing back the Reigns and Rock match like this much?
Yeah, 'cause The Rock is in his 50s now. I mean, guys do wrestle in their 50s, but like he's wrestling part time in his 50s. So it's like, how's he gonna look? And he might look great. The Rock seems like he takes care of himself. I still think he pops roids at his age because he looks way too good at his age. I could be wrong on that, but
You gotta
who
see
knows?
you gotta see what kind of diet he's on, man. That is scary.
Yes, it is. So who knows if he might not be doing roids. I don't know if he is or not. You don't know, but
I don't know. You don't know.
yeah, we don't know. He might not be. He might just take good care of himself and work out and eat healthy and all that other stuff. But I mean, I don't mind the Cody and Rock match. I do get tired of part-timers coming back and get main event slots all the time, but I understand it's a story they built up, so I can't really complain too much about it. Reigns, I've heard a lot of him and Rollins potentially facing off since he hit Rollins with the chair at Mania and they got bad blood. And I mean, I could see that either SummerSlam or Mania, maybe they do that. But like you said, they're still going to do Reigns and Rock eventually.
Reigns versus Solo at Mania?
I have heard they're going to set that up eventually too. Maybe.
Oh, I was just thinking random fucking goose fucking thing right there. What the fuck?
I mean, they are setting that match up eventually. I don't know how early it is, but that is something they want to do. So potentially, but
What's first, SummerSlam or Royal Rumble? Oh wait, that's a dumb question.
they could do
they're
either one, I guess.
Well, I realize that's a dumb question because Road to WrestleMania and all that jazz.
Oh
But
yeah.
I was just like thinking, we're doing the Bloodline as Survivor Series, more likely for the War Games, and we could get Reigns versus Solo at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It just depends what they want to do with that. I mean, they are saying Solo's the new Bloodline leader, but there's also theories that The Rock's actually the Bloodline leader he's reporting to. I don't know. There's a lot of theories about it, so I have to see what direction they go with
But
that.
is it an Austin theory?
Yeah, that's funny.
I had to do it.
I mean, he could report an Austin theory. You never know. That'd be a swerve,
shut
but
the fuck
we'll just have to wait and see. WWE changed his plans a lot. Like you said, who knows if The Rock's even going to be ready to go? Like, I don't want to see Cody and Reigns Part 3. Don't anybody fucking start saying that nonsense, please. God, no,
I mean, they are one-on-one
no.
against each other. They need the tiebreaker.
No. If that's the case, get Rock and Cena in the main event since they're one-on-one
they
against
need-
each other. If we're going with that logic, no.
They need tiebreakers.
Oh, man. They did do Reigns and Brock for how many times, so who knows? But that was Vince, so.
That's not a tiebreaker. That's just fucking
That was
plain
just
and boring.
Vince's dream match. Yeah, that's just. So next time we're going to be talking about the NXT New Women's Championship, the NXT Women's North American title, which they're doing a tournament for. We did talk about that 2 episodes ago, maybe 3 episodes ago, about how.
Second to the last.
Yeah.
Before the last.
I think it was. About how Undertaker made some comments saying they should add mid-card women's titles and that there's a lot of talented women that they could add more titles for. And now they end up doing it for NXT. So.
I think that was foreshadowing. Now that I
Yeah,
think about
could
it.
be. Undertaker could talk to people backstage. So, Tears, what do you think about this NXT North American Women's Championship?
On one hand, I'm glad they one of my major complaints when we first talked about this is just like, what are they going to be called? What are they going to look like? Are they going to look like old belts? Because Triple H likes old belt designs, and I made the joke saying like the old Divas belt. And I got my answer. It's what I didn't expect, but should have expected. It's just the men's belts for the women's division. Like I don't have too much of a problem for that, but I feel like I don't know, man. It's just like one of those situations to where like you don't think about it until it's just there, and you're just like, "Is this the answer I wanted?"
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just changed the strap and everything. It's
It's
interesting.
it's one of those things like you honestly should have expected them to do. Like now that like when I think about it, like it makes too much sense.
It does, and I mean, they do have a lot of women in NXT. It's just, I mean, they have a
So
lot of titles in NXT.
when do we get into women's Intercontinental and the women's US?
Give it time. Probably mid through the year, they'll probably have something like that.
Uh, you think I'm
It's,
joking, but I feel like they actually are going to probably do that now.
I wouldn't doubt it. It's just gonna be tough to get all these titles on Takeover because Takeover just only has like 5 matches, so it's gonna be really tough to fit all these titles. The
I
NXT
mean,
title, the men's, the tags, well, that's about 5 titles in NXT, I think, unless I'm tripping. Yeah, NXT North American Tag and the women's. Yeah, so about 5. So they could probably put about 4 of them on the pay-per-view and one rivalry match. So yeah, never mind. NXT should be fine with that. It's a good idea. It gives more women. I think
showcased.
yeah, more women show. I do think the main roster would be a little bit too overcrowded for right now. Maybe down the line, they'll probably end up doing it eventually. I see it happening eventually, but right now it wouldn't be a great time on the main roster. But NXT, yeah, I mean, showcase a lot of women, maybe who aren't ready for the main event scene. Because at the end of the day, you should use the mid card titles to get somebody there, get them known, get them a title, boost them, and then eventually get them up to the main event scene or at that upper level, unless you just see them as a permanently mid card. But like if you see somebody who's younger or new in the company, you want to get them kind of over, you give them that title, and you eventually get them on to something bigger and better. We'll see. I mean, I don't watch a ton of NXT. I know some of the women down there. I mostly watch takeovers. So hopefully
Cora
some of the
Jade.
women. Yeah, I think she's hurt again. She's been hurt a lot, unfortunately. Cora Jade. It kind of sucks.
Roxanne Perez.
Yep, she's the women's champion, I think. Yeah, she defended against Chelsea Green. Yeah. She's the women's champion.
Chelsea Green. I think Raquel Gonzalez is on the main roster. I couldn't
Yeah, she
remember.
is. Yeah. Raquel Rodriguez now, or whatever they call her. But there's a lot of new women in
Sure.
NXT. Trust me. I mean, if you didn't watch in a while, there's a lot of new names, which is always a good thing. I think they called one of them up to the main roster in the draft.
Yeah, The Rock's daughter. What's her face?
Oh yeah, she don't even wrestle. Apparently, she was so bad they just had to make her a GM. So, and they can't fire her since The Rock's like a part of the TKO board. So they're just like, yeah, we'll make you GM, youngest GM ever. It's just interesting. We'll see how the title goes. I hope it brings just something different, just more women to get involved in stuff and go from there. So this is a question Tiers made for us. WWE games, should they be yearly or just update the games? You know, maybe make a game every 2 to 3 years or do like just roster
Subscription
updates.
service.
Yeah, subscription service. To what you think they should do with that WWE 2K or just WWE, or I guess just wrestling games in general if you were to choose.
I think since I made the question, of course I would say subscription service, I guess. Because, well, yeah, once again, I brought up the question. But it's just the fact, like, recently a lot of friends of mine talk about the MOBA game uh, type of games, to where, like, it's like Smite, the new game, predecessors, that's what it's called, Legends. They recently just got League of Legends 2, but that game franchise is extremely old, too. So it made me think, like, what if more games was like League of Legends? And I'm not saying like make it exactly like it, but one of those things where like it's one of those to where like you buy DLCs, of course, for it. You buy like to make sure you get the updated version of the game, but it's still the same game. And of course, you would the only time you would ever get a new version of the game is when they're introducing a new engine, or like it's getting ready to be on a new console. Like say if for the entire time on the PS4 we only had one WWE game, and for the PS5 we get the brand new version of the WWE game. Like I could see that working, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it would give them kind of more time to keep pace on that game and update instead of just like, okay, well, we put it out on the next game. Like, update the rosters, update the modes, maybe add different modes. I feel like a lot of games should do that. Like, even sports games too, because I feel like a lot of sports games are really like putting out a lot of the same games every like MLB The Show has been a lot of the same, NBA 2K, like because they make games every year and they're kind of just not really they're running out of shit to add to the games. They're like, okay, let's just put out a new game, add maybe a few things to it, and call it a day. We know people will spend money on it. Boom. And I feel like WWE games are kind of like that too. They'll add a few things, they'll add a few things back, and that's it. And it's like, why not just like maybe every 2, 3 years add a new game, or do what you said, new console, add a new game with upgraded graphics and engines and stuff, and just upgrade the modes, or add a new mode every year, or add new wrestlers to the
Or how
game, or
about this?
whatever the case.
How about this also? Like we can keep our WWE subscription service game, but you during that time you can also have a game like a side WWE game. Like you remember All Stars, like stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that,
All
like All
Stars, yeah,
Stars.
Battleground, and yeah, yeah,
And less said about Battlegrounds better, but that's still a good example. Like just good side wrestling games.
yeah. That would be a good idea. It just sucks having like not every game has to do this, but it just makes sense a lot of games do like subscriptions. Just, 'cause, I mean, not that every game does it. It's just a lot of games put out the game and they just stop giving a shit about it after that because they're already focusing on the next one. Like it's just best to have just
Also just makes it a lot easier for the consumer as well, because that's what
exactly.
people are also focusing on. Like, am I really gonna want this game? Considering the last one didn't do good and it wasn't even that long that the game even came out. Is it even like people are wondering like for yearly games, like they're wondering if it's like even worth it to get it because the old, like a lot of people still love Here Comes the Pain, like that game for example.
Well, that game was
Some people
amazing.
even to this day still play it, like as long as they have the game and the console for it. So it's just one of those things to where like, do you really want to risk like having this whole new game also that's not even doing anything new? Fans know it's not going to do anything new and just not even buy it at all, and you just wasted so much money making it. Or just make one game that you know is going to sell as long as you have the game like being a live service.
I would definitely go with the B option. And really, like if you go to year WWE games, like there might be like Cody, for example, is like a big name they brought back to put in the game, or Punk or somebody like that. But for most of the time, it's just NXT people who they really don't even give a shit about in the game. Not all of them, but like they make them like 65 overalls or 70. Like they just did updates. They just add them people in, make their models look a lot better, take the time, make their movesets a lot better. Instead of just throwing them into the yearly game of like, oh yeah, well we need new people for the game. So who's some NXT talents we barely know about that we'll just throw into the game? Like I don't know. I just feel like having a yearly game is not always a good thing, and some might disagree, and that's fine. But like I just feel like WWE games are kind of just half-assed a lot of the time. With like 2K and say, oh well, look, we brought back GM mode, and the next year they'll add. Well, you see, we added where you can do this in GM mode now. That's the only thing we added, but we updated it, so we care. Like it's just so much half-assing, and it's not with just WWE. It's with NBA 2K2. They half-ass a lot of stuff
It's
in
for
that.
any yearly sports games.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a lot of
I don't even
half-assing. So
I don't even play sports games, and I'm saying that that's saying something.
yeah, for real. So I don't know if they're ever gonna do that. Unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah,
I guess
no.
WWE renewed their deal with 2K. I haven't heard nothing about. It. I know it was expiring. I guess they renewed it because they were happy with how 23 played out. So
I mean, it wasn't bad.
no, it was definitely a step improvement. They definitely.
Well, when you have everything compared to 20.
Yeah, that game was a complete disaster. And that's exactly what we kind of mean by sometimes they rush out games because that was just that game had no business even being put out at all. I mean, come on, bro.
Woo,
Just
that
you shouldn't have just said,
game.
okay, our game's not ready. We apologize. We're making sure it's good for y'all, and go from there. So let's talk about Ricochet. He's been,
Oh yeah, the current speed
yep, the
champion.
speed champ, the Twitter champ. He's been having some good
Oh,
matches lately.
God, I hate
It feels like Triple H. Well, Triple H likes Ricochet. We saw how he's booked in NXT. I feel like he's doing a lot more. He's been booked more better. He's looking better in the matches. He's on the TV every week. He's just more important. We all know Vince didn't really like Ricochet. He has that southern accent. He's a high flyer. He's
He's from Kentucky, so yeah, he's gonna have a southern
yeah.
accent.
So I mean, Vince don't like southern accents. All that stuff.
Hell, I'm not that far away from where Ricochet's from, so. And even I barely even acknowledge the southern accent. It's not even that southern.
Nah, not really. But we know how Vince is. Vinceisms or whatever they call them. But sometimes on commentary, you'll hear Pat say he's quick as a puma, which is like a Prince Puma reference. Or you'll hear Michael Cole say, "How quick is he? Quick as a puma." Like they always make these Prince Puma references, and a lot of fans are speculating maybe Ricochet's going to do a character repackage because a lot of fans say he's boring. He don't have a character. He can't talk. He's just good in the ring. All that stuff. So, Tears, what would you think about them doing a Prince Puma in WWE? Not exactly Prince Puma, but like a character like that. Like even Jim Cornette said, like Ricochet's the type of babyface you put a mask on him. He's a superhero. He could see him being like a hero for the children fans, the kids in the crowd. Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, I can see where that argument comes from, but I feel like Ricochet is already, unfortunately, like far beyond being able to do that with. Like, it's not gonna work out like it did for A-Kid. A-Kid turning into Axiom really helped him, but fans didn't have enough time with A-Kid to recognize like him and all that. But if you do that for Ricochet, I just don't feel like it's gonna work nowadays.
Yeah, it feels like fans are kind of used to. Not that he can't do a character repackage, but like it just feels like fans are kind of used to seeing him. Like, okay, this is what Ricochet is in WWE. He's been this for
I'll,
like the
I'll
last 7 years.
I'll put it this way: you could definitely do a gimmick change, but I don't see a character change being the route to go.
Like basically, you just see them putting a mask on Ricochet and kind of having him be a kind of that, but not like changing the Ricochet character or nothing.
I don't even think I think the Masters just overdoing it. I just don't think it would work out as well as people are thinking it will.
Probably not. I mean, I don't really see how he changes the way he talks or changes the way. I mean, he can't really do promos that well. I mean, I don't see how him putting on a mask would really change anything. Personally, his ring work would still be the same. Yeah, I could kind of get what you said. I don't really see what it would really change too much. I mean, is it really going to benefit him that much? Is it going to put him in the main event scene? No. He's still going to be exactly where he's at, a mid card guy who puts on good matches. That's pretty much all he would be, unfortunately. Which he's a great wrestler. I think in any other company he'd be a world champion, no doubt. He can put on good match with anybody. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Some of the stuff he can do in the ring is unbelievable. But WWE, it sucks to say you got to be able to cut a promo. I know Gunther ain't the best promo guy, but Gunther, to those fans are believable. He doesn't really need to talk. He can just go in there and beat the shit out of people. And okay, yeah, Gunther, he don't really need to say a lot. But Ricochet kind of needs to talk. I mean, I don't know if you agree with this, but I've seen a lot of criticism of Ricochet where they say he's just another indie guy. He's not anything different of what we could go grab from anybody else. I don't. There's a lot of criticism for Ricochet because they're saying, well, he can just work. We can find a lot of guys who can just work. What makes him so special? This is WWE. This is the big time. You got to be able to cut a promo, be a character, be a star. He's not that. Like, what do you think about them comments? I have read a lot of comments like that about Ricochet.
That's a really ballsy comment, I'll say that. But on one hand, I don't think that's necessarily true. Ricochet, him and to bring him also up, him and Will Ospreay are two people. Like you could have one or the other, but it just depends on what they do with their environments. But those are the only two people that could do what they do. Like, you could probably try to make an argument for other people, but I'm just like thinking to myself to where, can you really, really make an argument that anybody can do what Ricochet does?
Not a chance. Most of the stuff he can do is like unworldly sometimes, literally.
Yeah, and plus, like, I'll put it this way. Like, say I did want somebody like Ricochet, but not Ricochet. I'm just, like, thinking, who's my options? Like, uh, if I was a producer or company, like, head honcho, I'd want people like Speedball Mike Bailey, but not because he's like Ricochet, because he's Speedball Mike Bailey. I want people like the Wolves, like the tag team the Wolves. But I'm not gonna be getting. If I want the Wolves, I'm not getting like beer money. And the reason I say that is because I remember our last episode we talked about TNA a lot, so that's where my brain is. Like, you can't just compare two separate things and say like, yep, they're the same, and I can get either or. Like, it doesn't work like that.
No, it don't. And like for any fans who criticize Ricochet, I get it. He can't cut a promo very well. Okay, he can't. It's unfortunate. If he could cut a promo, he'd be absolute superstar in WWE. There ain't no doubt in my mind. But he can't. And in WWE, you got to be able to connect with the audience. And Ricochet can connect with the audience in the ring, but outside the ring, I feel like fans have a hard time connecting because they don't really hear him do promos. They don't really, his gimmick kind of is, what does Michael Cole always say? The highlight reel. That's pretty much his gimmick. And
Do you know what argument this reminds me of?
what?
Cesaro.
That too, yeah. I mean, he's kind of in a Cesaro situation where he's so good in the ring, but he can't talk, and that's kind of where Cesaro was as well. They didn't think he had charisma, Vince didn't, and didn't think he'd get over with the crowd. And yeah, that's a really good comparison to it.
I just remember also like the moments where Cesaro brought this up, and he says like he doesn't connect, he delivers. Like he had this nice promo, and he mentioned to where like I am all about like the circle or like these turnbuckles or the ropes, and then he had to correct himself. I can't remember what it was. It's been years since then, which I found that wholesomely funny. But yeah, like so many people were like he can't do a promo, but he was just like he made it known to where like yeah he can't do a promo. He does matches.
Yeah, Cesaro had pretty damn good matches, and he was over as hell with the Cesaro swing and the Swiss cyborg, and
No, it was the Thwith Cyborg.
yeah, that, yeah.
Poor his face.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Oh boy.
I mean, I don't know what to tell fans. Listen, Ricochet's a good guy to have. He's like a Finn Balor on the roster. You could put him. Maybe some fans would be pissed if he's in the main event match. I wouldn't be, but there's fans who say, "Why is Ricochet in the main event?" Blah blah. But he's a good hand. He can work with anybody. He can be involved in anything. You always want guys like that on the roster. You could hate him, you could love him, whatever. That's your whatever. Not everybody's gonna like every wrestler. I get all that, but just saying Ricochet's any other indie guy is like just a ridiculous
It's honestly
comment.
disrespectful.
It is. I mean, it's there's not a lot of guys like him out there. There's a new guy in NXT I've seen who has a lot of movesets like Ricochet, and there's a guy who looks like Ricochet in Impact. I don't know if you could say he is Ricochet, but he looks Trey Miguel. He looks like Ricochet, but he ain't Ricochet in the ring. I don't know. Just everybody has their own opinions. That one was just tough to read. But final topic: Kurt Angle talked about how he would return to WWE to manage Gable, and a lot of fans compare Gable. Pretty much, Kurt Angle thinks it would be a great idea for him to be a heel manager for a currently heel Chad Gable, and is open to returning for the idea as long as it's worth it for him. So, Tiers, what do you think about the idea of a heel Gable being managed by? I'll say what they say, Perk Angle being managing Perk Gable. I always see that reference. So, what do you think about that?
I don't know if I would like it as much as I think I would want to, because here's the thing: if that was to happen, I know what I want it to end with. I want it to lead to a Kurt Angle versus Chad Gable match, and if I don't get that, I don't want it to even happen at all
And
because
that's
I'm just
tough. 'Cause
like,
I don't think Kurt could go anymore. He says he can't even lift up his kids without pains. I don't know. I don't know if Kurt would do a match, unfortunately.
yeah, that's the issue. It's just like I would like to see Kurt Angle, but if he's to be a manager, I want it to end with a match between the two because that's the only time I want to see those two even react to each other. It's like, I want a match. Please don't tease me with this situation if you're not going to do it.
It'd be fun to see. They did have a quick match on Raw a few years before Kurt retired. I definitely would love to see it get more time, though. I feel like it didn't really get a lot of love. Vince was just like, "Oh, fine, I'll give you the match, pal. Give him 10 minutes." Like, obviously, I see the resemblance between the two. I think Gable and Kurt are both amazing in the ring. I feel like Gable's finally getting a lot of recognition, and Triple H is allowing him to not be goofy like Vince wanted him to be with the Shorty G shit and all that other stupid shit he was in.
Icon, we're not allowed to talk about that. We banned that talk.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I don't, that shouldn't be bad. Shorty G was just bad. But Vince didn't really like Gable because of his size, and Vince never really liked short guys, unfortunately. And Gable just never really got that love. Now he's getting a lot of love. There's the Kurt Angle resemblance. A lot of fans are already seeing heel Kurt and heel Gable, and they want to see him manage Gable. I love the idea. I just don't know where it goes. Is he just coming to manage him? Is it going to be like Tears? Are they going to hope? Is a lot of fans going to hope they do a match? What's the end goal with it? Is it just to have it happen? Is it gonna, like Kurt said? Is it going to be worth it for him to do it? And that's the big question. And
I kind of want to say no, so that way, like, I don't get teased because I don't like tease.
yeah, and I feel like they would tease it too much.
Take that as you will.
The only way I would see it maybe is if Gable just turns on Angle and or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't see Kurt doing a match. I don't really know what. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I do like the heel Gable. I would like to see Gable win something. I feel like he's lost so many goddamn times in the IC title hunt. It's just like. So pretty much Gunther, paraphrasing a little bit here, said that in his mind, Sammy was the right guy to beat him. He wanted to like Gable too, but he feels like Sammy was good because Sammy's a good wrestler. He connects with the fans. He's the ultimate underdog. Do you agree with Sammy being the right guy, or do you think Gable would have been a better option to beat Gunther?
I still feel like it was Sammy because I'm going to be honest, that comment kind of feels like your typical generic, like, oh yeah, I agree that it was Sammy. Please don't hate on Sami Zayn because I agree with it 100%. And I'm not saying he doesn't mean that at all, but I just feel like it made more sense to be Gable, but but then again, like if Sami Zayn didn't win it, what the flip would he be doing right now? Absolutely nothing, and then he'd be lost in the shuffle again. And, whereas
It's
now he's in a
tough,
feud.
yeah.
See, you put me in this situation, and the
Yeah, because I just
situation
thought of that
sucks.
comment by Gunther. Yeah, because Gunther made those comments a few weeks ago about how Sammy he thought was the right choice. So for me, I don't hate Sammy winning. I just feel like Sammy's like Gable hasn't ever won a singles title on the main roster. And I feel like it would have been a bigger moment for him, the fans who've been wanting him to beat Gunther before. Sammy already beat the Usos last year. He already had his big moment of beating a long-term champion. He's won the IC title a few times. Like, for me, I like to see people who haven't done it before, like, get their big moment finally at Mania, and Gable finally wins the singles title. Like, I feel like it just would have been a better moment. Not that Sammy wasn't a good moment, but Gable needed that moment more to me than Sammy. But I get why fans are saying, "Oh, well, Sammy don't have a direction. Ever since he left the Bloodline and him and KO lost the tag titles, he hasn't done shit." Like, I get that direction too. So it's a convoluted topic for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see. Maybe Gable beats Sammy, possibly. I mean, that could be something they do, or I don't know. We'll see what direction. But Tears, any final Anything you want to get off your chest or anything before we wrap this episode up?
Um, no, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Okay, well that'd
Oh
do it for
wait,
this.
no, no, no.
Oh, go ahead, Terry.
I feel like we might already be jumping the boat. Like, remember when we talked about Liv beating Becky for the
Hmm.
belts?
They are facing off the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. Like, I feel like for what I wanted to happen, I feel like it's way too early to already start that situation.
Yeah, it's kind of odd they're doing this feud so early. Something's gonna happen. Dominic and Liv have been having something going on. I don't know what. Character-wise, Dominic is really just a stud. He's got the Riz. I don't know, Rhea and Liv. I mean, come
He's
on,
got
bro.
some.
like, like, what dude wouldn't want both of that? But I, I, Liv losing again is tough. I mean, she's been losing a lot, and it's like,
And if she beats Becky, then what was the point of Becky even winning?
yeah. So it's kind of you back yourself into a corner type situation where it's like, okay, if Liv loses, she just keeps losing. But if Becky loses, like you said, why didn't Liv just win the Battle Royal? So yeah, it's something's gonna happen. That's not gonna be a clean finish. Maybe Rhea comes out and distracts her. She don't have to get like involved physically, but maybe she distracts her. Or maybe she says, I heard you and Dom were having something going on. What the hell's wrong with you? And it distracts Liv. I don't know. Something's going to go on. But as a Liv Morgan fan, it's tough because she has been losing a ton. And I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.